Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
The wheels are coming off Planned Parenthood's culture of death, Locomotive. We're going to be talking about this today on Faith and Freedom. Hi, I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action. Joining me today in studio is Shawn Akers, Liberty Counsel's Vice President of Middle Eastern Affairs. Shawn, the Kermit Gosnell trial in Philadelphia has been presented certainly by conservative media. The liberal media has largely spiked the story because it portrays the realities of abortion in a not just a bad light, in a horrific light. This, of course, is the abortion clinic where babies were being born alive and being decapitated, their spinal cords being snipped, being drowned in toilets, just horrible atrocities. But this has blown the lid off of the abortion industry. We are finding now that Planned Parenthoods and other abortion clinics across the country, our friends at Live Action, Lila Rose and others have exposed that these types of conditions it's not just an isolated incident to Philadelphia. This is systemic, that abortion clinics operate in filthy, dangerous conditions, and that, yes, babies are being born alive and then murdered. We always say abortion is murder, period, but they're being born alive and murdered, and we have abortionists across the country admitting this now. In the state of Delaware, Delaware is now the first state without surgical abortion since Roe v. Wade. Our friends at LifeSite News are reporting, and they have halted, in light of what's going on with the Gosnell trial and other abortion clinics across the country. They have halted surgical abortions now. Boy, I hope this catches on.
You know, Matt, I like the way you put that. You said that the wheels are coming off the abortion wagon. And I'll tell you, between Lila Rose and Live Action and the Gosnell trial and so much of this being outed, so much of this being put in our faces, it's very much like, if you can imagine having the technology to have gone in, someone have done investigative reporting at Auschwitz or Dachau, and they came out and they forced the world to confront what's actually taking place. And that's really what this is doing. Now, that's a dangerous thing because it puts the ball in the court of the American people. The question is, now you know it. There's no denying it. What are you going to do with it? That's the question that we're faced with now. But, Matt, there's some very encouraging trends. One, like you pointed out, is Delaware responded in an excellent fashion, saying, until we get this straightened out, we're going to stop surgical abortions. The other, Matt, is that these aren't just old people from a prior generation that are making these pushes forward. Lila Rose and those at Live Action are young people. Yeah. These young people around the nation are more pro-life than they've ever been before, and I'll tell you, they are making a difference. If you've seen those videos, I went through and watched as many of them as I could, and they're very, very difficult to watch. But these young people have done a fantastic job of going in and posing as someone who is 24 and 25 weeks along. Mm-hmm. And one of the striking things, Matt, that really shows what's behind the Gosnell trial and behind this entire mindset came out of the response that they gave these young ladies when the young ladies asked a simple question. What if I go into labor? I live 45 minutes away from you. What if I go into labor? Should I call the hospital? And they say almost without change, they say every time, do not call the hospital. If you do, they're going to try to save the fetus, to save the baby. You call us so we can get you here. But they're not equipped to try to handle a baby born alive. And under law in most states, once the baby is born alive, you're under a legal burden to try to do everything possible to save the life of that person. But that's not what they're being told. They're being told almost without exception, you call us first, not the hospital. You get to the abortion clinic first, not the hospital, even when you're in labor, even if the baby is being born.
Well, and in these videos, they've said, well, what if the baby is born alive? What do we do? And they just kind of wink, wink, nod, nod. Well, there are ways we can just put the baby over in the corner and let nature take its course. Or another abortionist admitted, well, we just take the baby, the fetus, and just put it in a solution and put the lid on it that kills the live child. This is in perfect keeping with what Kermit Gosnell is doing. Kermit Gosnell is the face of abortion in America, and he is the face of President Obama's position. Kermit Gosnell is President Obama's executioner. Shawn, recall that when we had Senator Obama, a state senator in the state of Illinois, he stood up and vocally opposed the Born Alive Infant Protection Act and Illinois' version of that. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, no, that goes against, if a doctor is forced to provide first aid to a baby that is born alive, that is contrary to the woman's intent, which was to execute the baby through abortion, homicide, through an abortion. And so he opposed laws that would make a person take a live baby and try to save that baby. It's unconscionable. There's no other word for it. It's evil, Shawn. It's evil, and the face of Planned Parenthood, the wicked, evil, murderous face of Planned Parenthood, is now available for all to see in the man of Kermit Gosnell.
Well, Kermit Gosnell, and quite frankly, in the recent cabinet hearing, the recent panel hearing with Planned Parenthood, where they said the same exact thing. When asked, the Planned Parenthood representative I'm talking about, when asked what happens when a baby's born alive, her response was, well, that's between the woman and her doctor.
Yeah.
Well,
What?
no, it's not. The law is implicated, even under this twisted system, the law is implicated at that point. But I'll tell you what it does do, Matt. If you go through and you watch the live action videos and you see these are legitimate abortionists who are supposed to be acting within the realm of the law, particularly you referenced one that I think was probably the Washington, D.C. abortionist that was saying, once a baby is born, the young lady's asking, she's leading him on and asking, what happens if the baby's born? He says, well, if you let nature take its course, then there's nothing to worry about. In other words, we're going to let the baby die. And the important thing about that is to see that the gap between what we call legitimate abortionist, as if that weren't an oxymoron, and Kermit Gosnell it's non-existent.
Yeah.
It's non-existent. What you have is something that's happened rampantly. There's places you see the figures all the time, Matt, that say that these late-term abortions are only done in extraordinary situations and very, very rarely.
Nonsense.
But you have a lady on live action when they ask her, and she says, "Oh, we do these every day."
Every day.
Every day, Matt.
Yeah, well, it's time, folks. The probable cause is there. It is time for departments of health across the country. The federal government's not going to do it, Shawn, under Obama. But it's time for departments of health and law enforcement to raid every Planned Parenthood in the United States. They are delivering subpar, dangerous, there are dangerous conditions for the so-called health, women's health. We knew it was never about that. And we know now, through their own admission, systemically, they are committing infanticide, murdering babies born alive throughout abortion clinics. It's time for every Planned Parenthood to be investigated. Congress needs to step forward and demand an investigation of the entire abortion industry. It should be shut down, period, until every single abortion clinic across America can be investigated to see if A, they are meeting the sanitary health requirements that every other medical facility is required to meet, and B, if they are killing babies.
Matt, but again, one of the things that you can't unring this bell.
Yeah.
Once this information is made public, and it has been, and not through just advocacy groups, but in way out of the mouths of the providers, you're talking about testimony taken under oath now that's been given in court. The American people have now been confronted with the reality of abortion, and especially late-term abortion. The ball's in our court, and the question is whether we're going to respond as someone like William Wilberforce, or whether we're going to duck our heads and say, as long as they don't mess with my paycheck and my job and my comfortable life, then I'm just going to pretend that this inconvenient truth doesn't exist.
Well, folks, we are living in a culture of death, and the left celebrates death, and they call it choice. They worship at the altar of choice, and their head priest is President Barack Obama. Liberty Counsel, we are standing up for life. We are pushing for a culture of life that recognizes that every human being, from the moment of conception to the moment of natural death, is created in the image of a sovereign and mighty and loving God. Go to lc.org to help us, to stand with us as we stand in the gap for the unborn. Or you can give us a call, 1-800-671-1776.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.